everyone to Unwrapped, your deep dive into, well, all things BMX and the base ecosystem. Before we jump in, just a quick reminder. This is all for informational purposes, definitely not financial advice.
Absolutely. Great to be here. Today, we're diving into a really interesting comparison. We're looking at Hyperliquid versus BMX. These aren't just two platforms doing similar things. They really represent two different ways of thinking about decentralized finance. We want to unpack what each one offers, for your DeFi toolkit.
Yeah, it's a great topic because Hyperliquid, I mean, you can't deny it. It's become a real force in the decentralized derivatives market. We're talking huge numbers, like multi-billion-dollar daily volume. Sometimes it performs incredibly well. It's definitely a powerhouse if you're a trader looking for that really high-speed, high-octane kind of experience.
Right. That paints a clear picture for Hyperliquid, focusing on that raw trading power. So how does BMX fit in?
Yeah, I often think of BMX almost like the Google Workspace or maybe the Adobe Creative Cloud, but for decentralized finance. It's this whole integrated suite, right? Tools designed to really work together smoothly. In our mission today, what we really want to unpack is how BMX actually delivers on its core promise, which is, capturing value from all across base, routing that value back into its ecosystem, and crucially, doing it all with zero token emissions, sustainable growth.
That zero emissions part is key.
Okay, let's dig into the architecture then, and maybe the trading feel. How do they differ there?
Hyperliquid, it runs on its own custom Layer 1 blockchain, and it uses a central limit order book. This setup gives it a feel that's very similar to using a big centralized trading platform. It's really aimed at professional traders who need those advanced order types and fast execution. The kind of trade-off there is you have this specific bridge you need to use to get your assets onto their chain.
Okay, so Hyperliquid is chasing that CEX-like speed and familiarity. BMX, though, it's built right on base. For trading, it offers two main paths. First, there's Classic. That's more for your straightforward perpetuals trading, right against their main liquidity pool. Simple, direct. Then you've got Freestyle. This one's quite innovative. It's an intent-based system that uses the Simio protocol underneath. Basically, you just state what trade you want to make, and the system figures out the best way to get it done.
Yeah.
This opens up access to over 250 different markets.
Wow, 250 markets. That's a lot.
Yeah, it really expands the possibilities. And because it's all on base, the custody aspect feels very native if you're used to the EVM world. It plugs into the standard Ethereum virtual machine ways of doing things, making it familiar for DeFi folks. Plus, you get the security that comes from Ethereum underneath.
That makes sense. Let's switch gears to the liquidity providers, the LPs. On Hyperliquid, you mentioned HLP. That's a USDC pool, and the returns come from the trading profits and losses, right? And it just auto compounds.
That's right. It's quite direct. You put in USDC, and your share of the pool grows or shrinks based on the net outcome of trades against the pool. It compounds automatically inside the pool, so you don't get separate reward tokens or anything. Liquidity tends to flow in based on how well it's been performing historically.
Okay, pretty straightforward then for HLP, but BMX's wBLT. You described it almost like a money Lego, with automated fees and this self-repaying loan idea. How does that make it different for someone providing liquidity?
Yeah, wBLT is definitely designed with more composability in mind. First off, it's multi-asset. It's backed by things like wrapped Bitcoin, ETH, USDC blue chip stuff. Instead of P&L, it accrues protocol fees. And a really neat feature is that these fees are processed automatically for the holders. Historically, we've seen annualized rates averaging around, I think, 60%, which is quite significant.
60%, wow.
Yeah, and that money Lego aspect is crucial. It means wBLT isn't just sitting there. It's designed to be plugged into other DeFi protocols. Like you could take your wBLT and use it as collateral on a lending platform like Morpho. So you can actually borrow against it while still earning those protocol fees from BMX. That's where the whole self-repaying loan dynamic comes from. It makes the capital much more active.
That's a really interesting mechanism. Okay, what about capital efficiency? How do they stack up? Hyperliquid, with its huge volume, must be doing something right there.
Absolutely. Hyperliquid achieves just massive raw volume figures. And its capital turnover is incredibly high. We're talking maybe 15 to 30 times its daily volume compared to the total liquidity in the pool.
15 to 30x, that's huge turnover.
It really is. It means the capital in their pool is working extremely hard, constantly being used for trades, generating activity and fees. Think of it like a super busy factory floor. This high turnover is largely thanks to that order book structure and having active external market makers participating.
Okay, so Hyperliquid gets efficiency through sheer volume and that order book market maker combo. How does BMX approach this? You mentioned performance per dollar. How does it achieve efficiency without necessarily having that same level of raw on-platform trading volume?
Right, BMX takes a different tack. It focuses on maximizing the performance per dollar of its liquidity pool, wBLT. A big part of this strategy is actually pulling in volume and fees from outside its own perpetuals trading platform. More than half, actually over 50%, of the value that wBLT accrues comes from external swap aggregators. Think Kyber, Matcha.
Oh, interesting. So trades happening elsewhere on Base.
Exactly. When those aggregators route big blue chip spot trades, they often pass through BMX's liquidity pools because it offers good pricing. This generates protocol fees for wBLT much more efficiently, perhaps, than just relying on its own derivatives trading volume alone. And it's important to note, like you mentioned earlier, neither platform really relies on heavy token emissions to attract liquidity providers. That points towards a more sustainable model for both, just achieved differently.
So BMX is really leveraging its position within the wider Base ecosystem to drive value back to its LPs. Yeah. That's a clever approach.
And beyond the core trading and liquidity, what about unique ecosystem features? Does anything else set them apart?
Yeah, definitely. BMX, for instance, has other products built around its core. There's Base Media X. It's an on-chain avatar platform, and they use Chainlink VRS. That's a verifiable random function for provably fair random allocations within it.
Interesting. So expanding beyond just pure trading.
Right. And as we touched on earlier, that freestyle platform powered by Simio is a pretty unique offering, too. Access to over 250 markets, many of them long-tail assets you might not find easily on other on-chain venues. That's a distinct advantage for certain types of users.
Okay, so Hyperliquid more focused on that core high-performance trading engine, while BMX is building out a broader suite, a bit more experimental maybe?
You could frame it that way, yeah. Hyperliquid is very focused on perfecting that core derivatives trading experience at scale. BMX is more about being a DeFi hub, combining different primitives, leveraging the Base ecosystem.
BMX is also expanding beyond Base, with deployments active on Mode and Sonic as well. So sort of a multi-chain vision.
Okay. And risks for BMX?
For BMX, the key dependency is Simio, which powers that freestyle trading mode. If Simio had issues, freestyle would be affected. Also, having a potentially smaller core liquidity pool compared to Hyperliquid could make it more vulnerable to, say, very large sudden withdrawals impacting slippage.
And then there's the platform risk. Being built on Base means it shares any potential regulatory or censorship concerns tied to Base and its connection to Coinbase.
Right. The Base-Coinbase connection is always a background factor. For Hyperliquid, with its custom layer 1, there's what's known as bridge risk. You have to bridge assets like USDC onto their specific chain.
Right, leaving the main Ethereum network or its L2s.
Exactly. And while it's non-custodial, this bridging process relies on the security of their validator multi-signature bridge. Mm-hmm. There's an inherent trust assumption in that mechanism, which is, different from just interacting with a smart contract on a well-established layer 2 like Base or Optimism.
Okay, bridge security is key there.
Additionally, as we kind of touched on earlier, if HLP liquidity were to significantly decrease, maybe due to large withdrawals or market conditions, the order book depth could suffer. That could potentially impact larger trades and overall market efficiency. Liquidity is paramount for a C-Lub.
Makes sense.
And like many platforms with a native governance asset, its value can be reflexive, tied closely to platform sentiment.
Okay, that gives a good sense of the trade-offs. So, let's try and bring this all together. Hyperliquid is clearly building that institutional-grade, high-performance, decentralized exchange, like from the ground up. Focused on speed, familiar tools, really targeting professional traders.
Yep, performance and the pro trader experience.
Meanwhile, BMX is leveraging DeFi composability, those money Legos, and building a more diversified ecosystem on Base. It seems focused on integration, broader asset access, and capturing value across multiple fronts, not just trading.
A wider net, perhaps. So to help you maybe decide which platform might be a better fit for your specific needs, let's try and categorize a bit.
Okay.
For pro traders, people prioritizing that raw volume capacity and a CEX-like execution for major assets. Well, Hyperliquid is currently ahead in that specific lane. Their performance is hard to beat right now for that use case.
Got it. The speed demons go to Hyperliquid.
Pretty much. Now, if you're more of a DeFi native, maybe you're looking for that familiar EVM experience on Base, something with simple, instant execution. BMX Classic offers a really compelling, straightforward option there.
Easy, familiar on Base.
If you're a long-tail asset seeker, someone wanting to trade more than just the big caps, BMX Freestyle's broad market access, thanks to that Simio integration, is a truly unique offering. It's hard to find that kind of breadth elsewhere on chain right now.
Right, for the altcoin perp traders.
Exactly. And finally, for those speculating on the growth of the Base ecosystem as a whole, well, BMX is strategically positioned as a potentially key piece of its infrastructure. If Base successfully onboards millions of new users like they aim to, BMX could see significant growth just by being a core component.
So kind of a bet on Base itself.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. It ties its fate closely to Base's success.
Both platforms are clearly pushing the boundaries of decentralized finance, each in their own powerful, distinct way. So as you, the listener, consider your next move in the on-chain world, maybe think about how their unique strengths might not be mutually exclusive for you. Could they be complementary tools that you could leverage together in your personal DeFi toolkit?
Yeah, maybe use both for different things.
How will these evolving landscapes, these different philosophies, shape your future on-chain engagements? Something to think about.